Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Today, we're doing a double reading show and interview. And we have Deidre Sanford on the show today. Hey, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm vibing with having you here. It's always super fun to have another person to just share this energy with.
It is. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How are you doing today, Deidre?
I'm doing great. You know, fall is coming. It's my favorite season. The temperatures are changing. The leaves are changing. I'm changing. It's beautiful.
I believe it. It's very fall behind you with all the trees.
It
I
is.
can't even tell if those are fall trees, but
They are.
they? Okay.
They are. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not quite sure. Like it turns out to be like, no, these are like, a different type of tree. I'm like, I have no idea.
Oh, no, they're turtles. Can you not see that they're turtles?
I actually believed you for 2 seconds. I was like, I missed it. I totally missed it. Where are the turtles? Tell me, show me. Hello, everybody coming on in. Hello, Tim. And, Deidre's been on the show before, but I always love to introduce my guests. And so for anyone who's just coming in for the first time, I want to introduce Deidre Sanford. And so here we go. Yes. Deidre Sanford is an energy worker, certified root cause therapy practitioner, and psychic medium. As a practitioner, she combines all of her abilities and training while working with her clients. Assisting within healing on the deepest levels, she helps others in achieving goals and establishing relationships with themselves they have previously been able to obtain. Thank you for being on the show today. You have a lot of knowledge and a lot of tools where you can really understand people on a very, fundamental basis with their body and their energy. And not every psychic medium has that. So what do you feel that adds to the way that you sense and perceive people?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I started as an energy worker. And I believe that to some degree, just like psychic, just like intuition, we all have some sense of the energy around us, whether we're aware of our understanding or not. And I think it helps me to be able to link with, communicate with, and relate to people from all different walks of life. And it kind of reflects what my business career was like before I stepped foot on this path as well. I've worked with hospital executives. I've worked with physicians. I've worked as a bartender. So you kind of learn the chameleon ways. And being able to work with the energies of a person or an environment really kind of just makes that a lot easier.
So would you say when you became an energy worker, was it easier for you in the beginning because you had so much, let's say, like street smart or, the ways of the world, coming across different people? Do you feel like you're like, oh, like I've been sensing people and reading people and making survival decisions, way before before I knew what energy was.
Yes, survival decisions is probably the jumping off point for it. We all have interesting histories in one aspect or another, and that's a great way to look at it. It really brought to the front for me of processing daily lives, processing encounters with other people, that is what I do. I'm the fly that sits on the wall for a little bit until I just get a vibe of the whole space. And then I'll finally start opening up and I'll finally find the right path through the grouping or through the crowd.
And when was the moment where you're like, oh, this is energy. I better start paying attention to this on a completely different level?
That's a good question. I can tell you that I was aware that I could see things other people couldn't see when I was 7. Um, when I really became aware that I was able to work with and affect energy, probably a little over 10 years ago when I first started with pranic healing, which is interesting because I did have my first 2 Reiki attunements. I didn't go to master. I didn't practice Reiki for that long. But pranic healing was something that just really called to me, and I could really feel and sense the energy of my hands and of the clients with whom I was working.
Wow. So I didn't know that you had a background in pranic healing.
Mhm.
How is that? It's very similar in some ways to, I would imagine, Reiki, but it's very different. So could you kind of describe the two so people can understand?
Yeah, I think my best explanation for that, from my recollection, is that when we're first taught to use Reiki energy and when we're working with the Reiki modality, we're moving energy simply by bringing in fresh prana and pushing out the not so fresh prana. The pranic system, in fact, pranic and Reiki were developed by people who were students together, and then they went off on separate paths. And I love that because there is
That's
a
so
very
cool.
strong, similar foundation between the two. Pranic healing was developed by an engineer.
Wow.
So when you
Wow.
think engineer, you think mechanics and you think righty tighty, lefty loosey, right? So if you want to put a screw in, you turn it to the right. So you want to infuse something, you're going to use a circular motion to the right hand side. If you want
Huh.
to remove a screw, you turn the screw to the left to loosen it. So
Huh.
we do the same thing with energy. If we're removing energy that's stuck, clogged, old, heavy, we're going to use the left hand motion to remove it and discard it. So that when we fill up, we're moving to the right. And I think that's really when I noticed that I could really truly sense energy with my hands, is when you're filling, you have to be sensitive to how much new energy you're pushing in so that you're not overfilling. Took me a
Yeah.
little while. They used to say, okay, I think they're full now. You can stop. You know?
Oh, I love that. Yes, and in Reiki, that concept is not really guided unless somebody is aware of, hey, well, you're overzealous. Let's talk about how,
Yeah.
it can be overwhelming,
Yeah.
right? But in pranic healing, that's actually taught from the get-go, it
Yeah,
sounds like, how
it
much you're
is.
pushing rather than
It is.
interesting.
Hey, Sarah.
Wow.
Hi, Mary Kay. Desiree's here. Hey there. How are you?
Hi,
Sorry, I'm
Kevin.
making a lot
Yeah.
of comments.
No, 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 no. Say
Hi,
hi
Kevin.
to everybody.
Yeah, and
Some
Kevin. Wow.
sometimes we're just talking. So when people pop in, we got to just say hi as they're coming or a little bit later. And then hello, someone just else just popped in. Hello, hello. What other, I guess, things did you discover with Reiki versus pranic healing? Or do you find that,
Hmm.
hey, at a certain point, they just really work together?
They absolutely do work together. Yeah, I mean, they're different modalities, but they have so many strong similarities that they're almost, to an extent, in some ways inseparable, because we're all moving energy when we practice, right? I think for me, the pranic system just felt more complete. And it seemed to me as though perhaps I focused differently because of the different approach. I would have
Right.
clients say things to me like, "Oh, are you holding a lighter behind my back? Do you have a lighter in your hand?" No, don't have a lighter in my hand. I feel like it enabled me to be more aware of what I was doing with and for my client
Yeah.
using the pranic
Yeah.
method. With Reiki, sure, there were results, but I don't feel that the results my clients received from the work were as perhaps long lasting or
Yeah.
maybe even as thorough as they were with the pranic practice.
That makes sense. So I've never taken pranic healing. I've always wanted to. So eventually that will come on. But Reiki I think is wonderful, but
Mhm.
it's a lot of times, especially in the United States, is taught in a very open-ended way. So you have to have a teacher who has a very thoughtful way of teaching. So your focus is guided in a way where you understand what Reiki can do. And I feel like a lot of times they're like, okay, sit and meditate and let the Reiki come in. But there isn't a proper guidance
Yeah.
in how to do that. And there isn't a lot of time and repetition in some of the ways that it's taught in the United States. So, yeah, it does. I feel like it creates a lot of people walk away with understanding the power and they get really excited, but it creates like almost like plot holes in what Reiki could be. Like,
Okay.
when you watch a movie and you're like, wait a second, how did that happen? Well, with proper instruction, you would know why that would happen. You know what I mean? Or if you wanted something to happen with proper instruction, you would, with just more time,
Yeah.
you go, oh, I can do that now. Yes, you can do that now. But it's so fleeting. Again, we have so many inconsistencies with Reiki in the way that it's taught.
Mhm.
And pranic healing is a more, I think, from what I heard from people, more grounded because it's not so open-ended. Like, just experience the
Yeah.
energy. No, you're talking about like one hand versus another hand, and Reiki
Which
can work
hand do
like
you
that
receive?
too.
Which hand do you use to project? And how far
Right.
do you, if you open your armpits a little bit, raise your arms just a little higher, then you get a better energy flow because you're not,
Yes.
yeah. And those little tidbits can make a big difference. I had great experiences with Reiki personally, but I do understand what you're saying as far as a little bit more direction. It's more specific when a protocol or a recipe, as we call it, is written for pranic healing practitioners to utilize for a specific medical diagnosis, then that practice, that protocol has been observed by the folks who can see the energy, who can see the aura, who can see what's happening with the aura of the person or the energetic field of their client. So they actually could see the results happening as the
Yes.
auric field changed. So that's how it became
Yes.
a healing modality that's based in protocols.
And all of that is possible with someone who has just only been exposed to Reiki energy. Like, all that is possible for somebody who develops themselves or has proper instruction. It's just like, I so much appreciate that in, pranic healing, that's just in place already.
Mhm.
It's not, oh, it's possible. It's like, no, this is part of the protocol, and and why we did this. And I just, yeah, that's why I appreciate it with all the things that I hear. I really, really do, because you're right. The way we stand and the way we do things, just like within Reiki, it's just
Yeah.
right.
Gotta
It's
hold
just
your hands this way. Yeah. Yeah.
it changes things.
Well, it really directs the outcome when you have that. This is part of why I've had so much trouble transitioning to living this spirit-led life, right? I need instructions on where to go and what to do, and I'm good. So pranic healing helped with that, but it also helped further ingrain that need to have instructions. However, what I learned during my pranic healing studies is that I might be able to now, but at the time, I absolutely could not work in someone's energy without getting the psychic information as well.
Uh-huh.
So, oh, my shoulder hurts. Oh, sure. Let me run some energy on that, see if I can help loosen it up a little bit. And I'd start talking to them about, oh, did you have XYZ happen? Or did you fall? And they'd be like, yeah, how did you know that? I just had a feeling. So I think it also helps me start to develop a better relationship with the voices in my head, so to speak, and be able
Yeah.
to utilize those.
I think
For
that's
good.
very for good. Yes. I think that's very, very eye-opening when you're a healer too, because um when you're with somebody and you're that close to their body and you're sending them energy, and of course it's in a very respectful, gentle
Right.
way, you're able to pick up on the things that are swirling around in their body on an energetic level, and sometimes you can hear it, see it, feel it, and also you're aware of sometimes the things they tell themselves, and so you start to have an appreciation for thoughts of not just being your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also becoming more
Yes.
aware of how you speak to yourself and to others.
Yes.
You ever had that happen?
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, you're such a pain in my neck. You're such a pain in my neck. You're giving me such a pain in my neck. Well, guess what you're going to end up with? A pain in your neck.
Right. There's the direct. It's really interesting how, we intend things without realizing it. Like, oh, like I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of this person. Well, that person's going to make you sick and tired. That situation's going to make you sick and tired, right? The whole pain in the neck thing, you obviously aren't very comfortable. It's just it's a stiff situation. Absolutely. And I think that was my biggest takeaway with what you just said. You start to become really kinder to yourself because you realize you look at a person's body and their energy and you see how they're wreaking havoc on themselves. And then you're there from a neutral place and you're going, oh my God, like they could actually change this if only they did this. And why, this leads to that. Like you're aware of how certain decisions and choices and emotions affect us. And you go, oh my gosh, I see that within what I'm doing to myself.
Right.
And I can help more people, or I can be a better person if I don't allow myself to do the same thing, because it's all energy and it's just bouncing around. And what am I doing with it?
Yeah.
So I became a lot more compassionate person to myself, like on a different level for sure.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah. And then you just try to.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you just try to offer that to the next person that comes your way.
Yeah. It's all wisdom. I mean, we learn from our clients as much as our clients learn from us oftentimes. And did you ever notice that if you have something kind of thematic happening in your life, you might have a series of clients that show up with something similar?
Yes, I agree. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of
energy, I agree.
Works both ways.
Because there's so many conversations and knowings within the soul that happen on such a subconscious level. And we go, how did I know that? Or, the universe guides us to certain people. And like attracts like energy. And so whether it's your guides or, your consciousness or something else that brought you there because of the like energy, right? You've done enough work, Deidre, or I've done enough work where for whatever reason they've come, there's a piece of that where we're very comfortable with working with that energy. And that's why they came to us.
Right.
Like we've figured that one out, even though there's a billion things we haven't figured out.
It's funny when we have those shining moments in our current lives when it becomes abundantly clear to us why certain other events in our lives happened and how those prior events are benefiting us now.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is connected. Even if there's a current stress within our life, and we all have current stresses, things happening, things changing, things knocking off balance, all of that, if we are in a present state, helps us get to the next point faster if we just embrace the lesson. And it's really hard to embrace certain lessons. It really is.
Yes, it is.
But I really look at it in a way where I go, how the heck am I going to do this? But if I lean into it, if I figure it out, maybe not figure it out, but if I accept it and I let it come to me and try to process it in a certain way, I know that maybe I'll take on the learnings to a large degree, but I know that experience, whether it's me guiding somebody like, hey, it's going to be okay, and I can give them the exact experience of how that thing happened to me, or if it's just the smallest little bit of reference point that now I can refer to in a reading, like, oh, I know what despair feels now. Like, I know what betrayal feels like now. I know what, this energy coming from this family member feels like now. Now, suddenly, I can make someone feel like I can understand them further because I understood my life further.
Right.
So
it's a step beyond just making them feel that way. I think when they recognize that you're totally relating to the energy of the emotion that they're feeling, there's again an energetic sense of the commonality, and it can help put our clients or put us more at ease in that same context, in that same conversation. It just brings things closer to the surface. It makes it easier to know that you're working with someone who truly does approach the conversation with them from a place of respect, of understanding, and of non-judgment.
Yeah. And I would say empathy really goes a long way if you can have it. Yeah. Empathy, like, hey, I haven't been exactly here, but I'm aware this is a doozy.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, we're going to go into readings in just a little bit. So we're going to be focusing on psychic readings. If you want, you can pop down your questions, your numbers. We're going to be doing a psychic connection and also card readings too. So if you are excited for one type of reading, pop it down too, and that's sometimes how we find you. And away we'll go in just a couple minutes. Wow, my voice wants to be like raspy all of a sudden.
Tell me that's not coming from me.
Maybe it is. That happens sometimes.
I know. That's why I asked. I had some of that issue yesterday and figured out later exactly why.
It's funny, like with prana, I'm getting rid of it with my left hand and screwing it.
You just reach up and do a little left hand motion on that throat chakra.
For whatever reason, I wanted to go like this for some reason, but
yeah.
I hear you, right? Yep.
Don't forget to refill it, though. Nature abhors a vacuum, and we don't want just anything popping itself back into that space you cleared up.
Silver protection. That's what I say.
Yes. We'll take it.
There's certain colors and energy types, and there's so many things to do. I know that, like, I work with angels and colors and different types of movement. So I didn't know about the whole corkscrew, right and left, and pranic healing. I actually didn't know that, but I did definitely work with like different energy movements. That's very, I mean, it's all real, but my experience, I'm just like, oh yeah, I can. That makes total sense when you were saying it to me.
Yeah. Well, and we do as we're guided too. I mean, I had a new guide show up, no pun intended there, and I was doing some work. Energy work in a session actually for me with another practitioner, and I found myself going and I'm like, I don't know where this is coming from, but this is what I'm supposed to do, so I'm just going to roll with it. And we got through what we needed to get through, but it was so interesting to know that, oh wow, that shift. So as you're talking about movements, I was something new that pops in just once in a while. I have to be working with certain people, or a certain guide.
So I don't know the origin of that. I used to do a lot more air puffs. I'll do it. I'll do it occasionally, definitely. And I do it for certain things, but again, I don't know. I don't have the background in it, but I think in like shamanism that does.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So you had the intuitive knowing to do that.
Like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, so I'm just going to do it. It was interesting. That's fun how that stuff comes in, though. And, information builds on information, right? So if you have a foundation that would lend you to be open to or understanding of a new way of doing something, and your team decides, oh, she needs to try this, you're going to be more open to it. And that goes back to the well-roundedness, right? The ability to connect to very, very many different types of people and situations that people are experiencing based in your own experience.
I agree. You just open yourself to the possibility, and sometimes you don't know what the heck's happening, but as long as it's positive,
right? As long as it's guided from the proper side, then you're all good.
Yeah. It's like, if it's helping, but yeah. Sometimes you can't make this stuff up. That's the whole thing. You can't make this stuff up. And, there's been times where I'm just like, why would I say this name? Why would I describe this? And then it's just, right, exactly. Or why would I do this? But it makes sense. And that's the cool thing about it. So, okay, everybody coming on in. The way that I usually do readings is, and you let me know how you want to work, Deidre. Like we each pick somebody. So I'll pick somebody first, and then you pick somebody. And then if you want, we can kind of bounce off the same person.
Yeah.
Or if you feel like after I'm done, if you want to grab a new person, it's whatever you're vibing.
I'm in.
Okay? Cool.
I'm in.
All right. Cool. I'm gonna do a reading to start, and then someone gave me a question, so Desiree, I'll answer that question later on. I love that question.
I
It's a
saw
great
that question from Des too. Congratulations, by the way, my dear.
Yes.
Love it. And yes,
Yes.
it has been a long time. I'm not
It
ignoring your
has.
statement.
I'm going to then go to Angela first, and then I'm going to pop back to Desiree in a little bit. Okay. So Angela would like a reading, and I'm going to shuffle some cards and see what comes first.
Okay. Cat strolled in as well. Jennifer's here. Just kind of looking to see who's hanging out with us this afternoon. I think we decided that's Lalima. Hi, Lalima.
Lalima. Yes. Hello, Lalima. Hello,
And
Kara. Kara. Okay. So what I got for Angela, right away I got the pushing yourself too much card and time for a new hobby. So it was basically like, whoa, it's time to kind of reorganize the way that you do things, because let's just push out the idea. Sometimes like we have a certain way of doing our life, and when we really step back, we go, well, it kind of feels like a rat race. I'm productive and I'm doing things that are good for myself. So I'm not being like selfish. I'm actually doing things that make my life better and other people's life better. But I don't feel like this like is, when I look at everything, this is the best way to do it. So the pushing yourself too much like really makes me feel like there's an easier and better way to do things for you. Maybe another person taught you a certain way and they're like, this is the way you get things done, but it doesn't work for you, and it leaves you with limited amount of time, and it leads you into places where you are stressed out more often than not. And then I got the time for a new hobby card, because that's basically, again, diversifying your schedule. It's basically saying, hey, I'm open to doing things better. I'm opening up to having a different kind of identity where I actually like my life better. And why wouldn't I do something different? Because I'm trying to do something different, So part of that is maybe being uncomfortable and going, I wouldn't normally do this, but let's see what happens.
You're right.
And these two cards like flew out. Okay. So I was shuffling the deck and they flew out at me. And that always means that they are for you. It's basically like you are overdoing it. You're not giving yourself you're not fulfilling your proper needs. And you actually would be way happier with a different schedule, doing different things. And you shouldn't just live a day-to-day boring life because you feel like you're being responsible. Okay. So that really comes into it. And she says, yes, ugh, I feel so overwhelmed right now. Yes, and struggling. She's pregnant. Wow. I'm sick and super pregnant right now. Oh, wow. Okay. So this is from a different angle too. Congratulations is right. Well, I feel like there's a better way to do things for yourself where you're not so overwhelmed in that. And I do feel like, getting out of the house and doing something different is like a good perspective in welcoming baby into the world, and welcoming like, oh, this is how life is going to be different. And I get to show a more relaxed, fun self to my child. And I get to show them, excuse me, I get to show them my life through this lens. So I'm going to mix it up, and I'm going to do a couple different things because I want to offer my child kind of these different experiences too. And in order to give that to someone, sometimes you need to do it for yourself. I actually think that's really, really important. I know that's difficult with all the changes going on right now because there are so many, but Spirit was saying you got to kind of go out and have some fun and try something different You do. It's going to give you a new perspective. It's going to give you a better perspective how to handle all the changes. And it's going to make you feel not so stressed out because you're like, that was really fun. It was crazy, but it was really fun. And I feel like I have energy back in my reserve so I can handle all the craziness because there's more craziness coming up. And then the last thing I'll say too is because all these cards popped up, usually like, I don't get 4, but they all popped up together. There's emphasis on the angelic realm and mediumship. So with baby being in the picture, I do feel like it has been opening up your sensitivities to the other side. I do feel like you've been nudged to develop more. And I feel like it's going to be touch and go because there's so much going on with baby. It's going to be touch and go. But if you want to bring it into the forefront more, great. Just know that it's there and use that to communicate with and in touch with the baby. And I keep getting like a girl's coming on in with you, Angela. I don't know if you know about the sex of the baby, but that's what I feel. So, okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give that over to you, Deidre. You can touch in with Angela, go wherever you want to go.
I don't usually get up and walk away from the camera when I'm on a live show, but I had to because one of my decks of cards that I didn't have at my fingertips was calling to me. And that was the Judith Orloff Power of Surrender deck. And I think it's really funny, Kelly, that this goes, not really funny, but funny. This goes right along with what you were saying. I think it might be backward, but Angela, the card, and she says, yes, it is a girl, Kelly. The card that came up first for me when Kelly was speaking with you is Surrender to Play. And it goes right into some of the things that you were speaking of. And it's take a break from overthinking a goal. Do something fun. Play is a time of recreation and rejuvenation. And I did see your comment, Angela, that said that you slept like half the day and it's not enough. I get 2 impressions when you say that to me. One is, of course, my friend, there's so much going on in your body. Your body is changing. It's busy feeding and preparing for the arrival and the further development of this beautiful baby girl that you're about to have. But it's also, the other thing that came through is surrender to fear. And I feel like perhaps in the past, you haven't been given permission from young childhood to be that playful child, to be open, to explore. There was perhaps a little more rigidity, and you're not wanting to bring that rigidity to your child and her growth and development. You want to give her an opportunity to explore more so than you may have had as a child. And I think it's a beautiful way to want to approach your relationship with this child, and play is a fabulous way to be able to give them permission and develop within them and reinforce within yourself the ability to push outside those boundaries in a comfortable way. Don't be afraid to push outside those boundaries, but do be afraid that you don't honor yourself in this process. I don't ever want to tell someone to be afraid of something, but it just kind of worked out that way in the phrasing. Pay attention. If your body says it wants to sleep, let it sleep. It's going to be so important. And you will appreciate that so much too, that your body is ready for sleeping when that baby actually finally makes her appearance.
Yes.
That play card came right in there for you.
Absolutely. So this is why I love having, fellow psychic mediums on the show, because I can say things one way, but then like you come in and you just help to magnify the message on, whether it's like, oh, I get that on another level, or, oh, now I understand. That's a more relevant way for me to know that I'm pushing myself too much. And, I need to be kind to myself.
Please do.
Right.
And, set that expectation for your child too. As she watches you, honor yourself and listen to your own body and listen to your own thoughts and follow your instincts. Your child's going to learn to do the same thing. And you're once again stepping outside the boundaries of some of the things that you may have learned as a child yourself.
Very important. Very, very, very important. 100%. Thank you so much for that, Deidre. The last thing I'll say on that is, so Angela, I know you're having a girl. We talked about that, but I feel like there's another baby coming, or you already have another child, if not, because I'm aware of that there's going to be a boy in your life too. So heads up for that if there isn't already a boy in your life. But congratulations on the girl. Okay. How fun. Yeah. Fun indeed. I like when they come in and just be like, oh yeah, it's not just a girl. You know, I mean, it is a girl right now, but it's like, it's not just that. It's, you know, so it's always interesting. All right. So it's your turn to choose.
Yeah. Jennifer's name popped out to me a little bit earlier. She's asking for a psychic reading, anything that she needs to hear. And she's got a lot of faith in us, Kelly, because she's already saying thank you.
Aw.
I kind of got
she's a
drawn
boy
to
or
her
a girl?
name, and then I got a little pulled away because we were talking about and feeling into Elle and Angela and the situation that was there. So I'm going to take just a moment to drop back in and connect more clearly with Jennifer, because I feel like it's an interesting connection between these two, because I feel again with Jennifer that there's some constriction happening and some lack of expansiveness or expansion, feeling maybe a little bit pigeonholed. And I feel like that may have to do not just with a mindset and her capability, but with her position that she's in feels like a workplace, like very constrictive, wanting to explore other areas, not necessarily an entirely different career, but approach what she's currently doing from a different aspect that would be bringing some more fulfillment in the personal space of working with, I'm going to say, clients. I don't know if this is a sales position or something more cut and dried like bookkeeping, but I feel like just not giving an opportunity in this position to really connect with those people with whom she's working. She's got the ability to do that, and she has the ability to do it very effectively and to really make differences for people. And I feel like that's the constriction, is the role that you're currently functioning in is very cut and dried, very rote. And I feel like you're searching for a way to connect more deeply with people and have more of an impact and a positive effect on the people that you're working with. Thank you for confirming that I'm headed in the right direction with the information that I'm reaching for. It's as far as I've gotten at this point. I'm not sure I want a whole lot more detail right now, but I appreciate the offer. We're going to come back to that in a minute. Hey, Lee. Jennifer, I feel like you're looking for more of an opportunity to uplift people and empower them to do things in their own highest and best interest. I feel like you've done an awful lot of work to figure out how to do that for yourself to get where you are now. And I believe that you really have the ability within you to directly impact others. And I think it's also more specifically women who could really benefit from the uplifting energy that you bring to the table when you work with people. And I think when you really truly decide that you want to step more firmly on that path and open up yourself to exploring more of those abilities, you're going to do beautifully. It's going to be kind of a step-by-step process to get you to really fully open into this. And I'm not suggesting that you're going to suddenly leave the current job you have. It's a good job. You kind of enjoy it, but it's lacking something and it's paying you well. Balance. Bring the other one in, maybe a little bit on the side, and start opening those doors. And you'll eventually end up in a situation where you can spend a whole lot more time focused on empowering these other people and uplifting them into their higher space.
Absolutely. I think so. She said exactly, I can give you the details if you want. So she was just validating what you were saying. So excellent. And yes, I think like career change and evolvement absolutely is something that is opening up here. So I got cards kind of from different angles with Jennifer. So it's all kind of in the vein of inspiring her to continue to go and be, you know, a new defined version of herself. And I do, you know, everything I'm saying is going to be in the vein of career, largely, I would say. But so it's funny because I got the new hobby card again. And this card always makes me laugh because it's like sometimes like, where's the time for it? Or like, really? And really sometimes this card comes up because it's like what Deidre was saying earlier, we're not having fun within our life. We're not like, we're looking to be more fulfilled, but we're actually not in the energy of a fulfilling life before we're looking to be fulfilled. and I get everything can change and open up sometimes, but sometimes we want a specific thing because we think it's going to make things better, and really it's because we need healing and to change things up in other areas too. It's not just, can I, heal what has gone on in my life through being successful. Okay, so in the forefront, I'm seeing that card saying you got to shake things up. Like, it's going to help you get inspired. It's going to help you meet more aligned people within your life. It's going to help get you to be in that place of conducting inspiration and your imagination, where you can go, oh, I want to do this with the job. I want to do this with the company, right? And I kind of need you in that space a little bit to shake things up, because then we're going to be, even though you've changed so much, we're going to be building sometimes on things that are not completely healed or let go from the past. So I'm aware that that's kind of in the mix. So heads up. And then I got like a past card, and it was like the Heartbreak Hotel card. So it lets me know that, some of this inspiration going forward, it was because of like a significant change in your life. And it could be from like usually it's a relationship change, right? And so when we're in a life with another person, and all of a sudden things kind of implode or change and it doesn't work, our identity changes, and we go, well, okay, what way do I have to do it? And so I'm aware of, there's like this influx of energy coming from building a life anew. And as we're going forward, it's about like believing that you are strong, and continue to like let things die that weren't supposed to be there, and know that you have to tear things apart, or let things tear apart around you, in order to be someplace better. And so all this new energy with like the playfulness, the new hobby, it's kind of like giving you newness, so you can go, oh, if the rest is breaking apart, like, it's okay, because I'm on a new raft, and I'm in a new part of the ocean, and this actually looks great. This doesn't look scary. This looks fun, and now I have different people, and I'm just aware of some of these dreams were built because of things that were priorly broken, and you want to fix things and evolve. And it's just like, I need some new energy to help you cultivate like the fire and the power of yourself. Okay, that's where I'm at.
Awesome.
It's a lot sometimes.
The card I got for Jennifer, just to kind of add a little frosting on the top, is the Angels card, meaning you're supported and divine intervention is at play. So you're not just making this up out of your own thoughts. There is a nudge here to start moving on that path, and that craving that you have for some expansion, and to step into a different role, helping to empower others as you've empowered yourself in the past, and as you will continue to do. They're right there for you, and they're cheering you on in that work and that process.
Okay. And thank you for that, like angel frosting on top. We'll take it.
Like frosting. I don't know why I said that.
I like it. Hey, sometimes things need the angel frosting. All right. So we have some questions. And so one from Kevin, and we have one from Desiree. So Desiree was saying, is there a specific number in the business name that is important? No, there's not one specific number. It's about a pattern of numbers. Okay, so certain numbers are going to be more important than others. Yes, but you're looking for the overall pattern of the numbers and how it relates to your own chart to understand if there's synergy, at play when you're starting your business. Does your business allow for you to use energy and to pull from energy that is you naturally? Like, for instance, the last thing I'll say to really kind of personify this is, I talk a lot about how like 4 and 5s are different. There's other numbers that are different too, like 3s and 7s, and I could go on and on. But like a 4 is structure. A 5 is they think best on the fly. They like spontaneity. Now, if your chart is full of 4s, but your business adds up to 5, or its inception date was on a 5, your business is going to be operating from a space that it does well with drama, spontaneity, and on the fly. And you could lean into that to help make your business work, but it's probably going to drain with the way that you prefer to build your business and have things come to you, because you don't work from a chaotic place. You work from a place of methodical planning. So there's certain energies within our business where it doesn't really align with how we do things without stress. Okay. So it's just about working with and finding patterns of energy that are consistent and harmonious, so things are with ease. Okay, so there's that. And then you can help me answer this too, Deidre, with Kevin.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. And it made me start thinking about, Kevin, sometimes we have unhealed things or difficult experiences in past life that we bring into our present life in order for them to be healed. And I think when you ask the question, is it from now or is it from childhood trauma or past life energy? I think those two things can really blend together and build on each other.
Yes. So I'm reading this fully too. So he's been working on clearing his throat chakra. Is it childhood related or past life that he has to clear? Okay, so if we have stuff within our childhood, it can always be linked to past life. Okay, so sometimes it's not important of where it's coming from, but just the acknowledgement of, you're aware it was affecting you at a young age. Now, you can go into past life regression, you personally, or with a person who facilitates that, and you can get more answers of how and why and when. But the most important thing is, I would say, when you're clearing it, see just what comes up, right? Like when you're clearing it in the moment, like whether you're giving yourself Reiki or you're going to a healer or whatever that you're doing, like you could be taking vocal lessons for all I know to,
Right.
to clear your throat chakra, or singing, or even writing, even sometimes, right? Or talking with friends more. You're going to notice sometimes anxiety coming up, or fear, or you're going to get a flash of something that happened to you the last time you were afraid in a similar way. So there's these connecting pieces where you're going to kind of know, oh, the last time I felt like that was when, or it's making me think of a time when, and it will help you to understand, like, was it, father that created a suppression of throat chakra? Because I usually feel this way when my father's around and I want to speak up and say something, right? So really dive into the feelings that come up, or other sensations that come up when you are using your throat, because your body's going to say, no, I'm not comfortable right now, or this or that. And that's exactly what's relevant to you understanding what's going on inside of you, and why your body and energy said it's not safe to do this, or it is safe to do this now. Oh gosh. So you talked about past lives was being like, some traumatic events of past life, and then with the child, traumatic events too. So that would highlight all that. That would highlight that region. And the most important thing is making sure that
Excuse
is
me.
opening up and releasing, and that you're processing that as much as you are comfortable processing it as you're releasing, because past life versus current life can sometimes be just as traumatic for people.
Yep. And Kevin, from a root cause therapy standpoint, you wanted, in your original question to us, you said, what questions are there suggestions to help clear this? And I think you said, what questions can I ask? I think I might be misremembering that. When I'm working with a client in root cause therapy, and we're looking to, right? So consciousness, the things we do, think, and say in our everyday life, is only coming from 5% of our brain. 95% of what we do think and say is driven from our subconscious. And we know that our subconscious is our protector. So if you're working with your higher self and your subconscious, you can actually work out, is it from before, during, or after birth? You already have that answer. You have those two things to put together. So I would say, since you already have that much information, you might want to consider a little further what was happening in that first event, in the past life event, who else was involved, and what emotions come up for you when you're in a safe place and you feel safe to cope with and process those emotions. Let them come up, let them run their course, so that you can clear the lens, so to speak, of the instance or the event that you're seeing. Find the lessons and find the learnings there. Sounds like a lot of these events are energetically connected to each other. So if you can unravel things further in the past, those other events that come after that can also be released for healing, and the lessons can be brought further forward back to present day and incorporated. But as you were saying, Kelly, pay attention to your body, pay attention to the emotions. I would also ask, where in my body is this coming from? Because while I understand that you can trace back and see that there were specific physical injuries to the neck and the throat that would affect your throat chakra, there may also have been other things happening in your body where things are stored, emotions and trauma are stored. And by releasing those, you can help relieve some of the throat chakra and some of the neck area issues as well.
Absolutely. And I guess the last thing I'll say on it is, it's not one size fits all. You know, your like past life or childhood, right? Focused. You know, there's certain things that have happened to me as a person where I think back and I go, shouldn't I have been more affected by that? And then like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, and then I'll be aware of things going forward. I'm like, well, in my current life, I don't really have much problem with that, but I'm aware of the overwhelming anxiety. But with how I was growing up, I didn't feel that affected me. And so I'm aware of that things come from other places.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of see where things is coming up for you. And just let it just keep telling its story, and it's not going to be logical. Like really allow the feeling to guide you.
Yep.
That's all I can say. Okay.
But
make sure this one isn't just done by yourself. And I have a feeling that you're opening up to make sure that happens, but just make sure that this one isn't done by yourself, because when healing the throat chakra, even more especially, it's all about speaking and listening, being seen and heard. And you can't just cycle that energy by hearing yourself and speaking to yourself. Someone past life or current suppressed you to express yourself, and it's time to make sure that someone is listening to you with what your needs are. That's healthy. That's very, very healthy. And for you to offer that to another person when you're in that place too, that's very healthy. That's a very healthy way for human beings to function. We have to express, hear, and be there for each other. So please, that's very important. Okay.
I love that. Love it.
Let's see. Thank you so much. Thank you for understanding what we're sharing and for it making sense. And thank you for your kindness. And we really I'm sending you a hug from afar, Kevin. I really
Absolutely.
am. So then let's jump. Is it your turn to pick, or is it my turn?
I'm not sure.
Forget.
I'm not sure.
All right. I think I forget, honestly. We'll just go with whoever we go.
But,
this happens to me. It really does happen to me. It's like I can't remember past a certain point. Okay. Is there anyone you're vibing? If not, I'm just gonna pick somebody.
I'm kind of looking at Karen Beth. She's asking for some advice for her future. And when I scrolled up past that one in search of to see who was going to pop out next, I saw that question and I picked up my Messenger Spirit cards.
Nice.
Which is kind of my go-to deck, but it hasn't been the predominant deck today. And okay, so I got two cards for you. I'm like, yep, right in my lap, right one after the other. And I think it's awesome. We're talking about your future. So Obviously, I can assume and not necessarily read into your question. And then I can feel into it. And I'm like, yeah, you're wanting to make some changes and you're wanting to make some sweeping changes. You're done with baby steps. I don't know how that's resonating with you, but I feel like you're like, oh, it's time. It's time. I got to make these changes. And I've had this sense for a while that I need to be making some changes, but man, it's time. It's time for a big one. And actually, what's really funny is the first card that popped out of the deck when I was shuffling was divine timing. Let go of your timeline. Spirit has a plan. And I feel like Spirit nudged you and said, okay, it's time. And now you're saying, okay, it's time. Where do I go? What do I do? Take a breath, because the next card that came up for you is the Channeler. And it kind of touches on some of the things that we've both said to people throughout our hour today. And this one is your body's intuitive. Listen to it. Which is really just saying, I hear you. And the simple fact that you asked the question says, yeah, you know what? It's time for change. I've tried to make changes before. They still didn't fit. It wasn't exactly right. And this time I want to make sure I make the right change. So the Channeler card is kind of suggesting to you, and not even kind of, it is suggesting to you that pause and take a breath and search further within and say, okay, I hear you. I understand. I'm ready to make changes. Show me which direction I want to go into. And then pay attention to see what comes up. The Channeler card also tells me that there may be some intuition that you followed off and on in your life, and you didn't even really know it. You just kind of had a gut instinct and you followed it, because a lot of us talk about gut instinct, but you have more information than that comes in for you. And I'm not sure that you're ready to accept and open that door and work more strongly with that information that you're receiving. It's like you're getting the nudges, and you're kind of, wait, I'm making this up for myself. No, my friend, you're not making these things up for yourself. When you get this incoming information, my suggestion is grab a pen, start your journal, and write down the information that's coming in. And I hate it when I say start a journal, because I hate to journal. It drives me insane, but it's helpful. In the times that I do sit down and build on that journal, it clarifies a lot of things for me. I know it's getting to be fall. I'm not sure what part of the world you're in, but are you looking for something that gives you more of an opportunity to be outdoor and more open and free with that grounded energy from being out in plants and earth? Because I'm feeling like that's kind of a push for you. You need to be outside. Get your hands in the dirt, get your hands on some plants, move some things around. And as you're doing that, is kind of meditative work. It's the symbolic moving of the plants and the moving of your own energies and your thoughts that are giving you the direction. I cannot hand you the keys to the kingdom for this process or for the end result of the process, but I can give you some information on how you're going to get yourself there, because I think you already know in the back of your head. You just don't want to believe it.
Yes. So I can, you talked about, how she's ready for some major change. Like with what I feel with Karen is I feel like a bunch of frustration. Like, okay, I'm ready for something different. I want something different. And I feel like all this like creative energy ready to go. So I don't know if like, you mentioned like journaling with her. I'm just seeing like, I keep thinking about like art and stuff. And I don't know if that's what she does to like help release her emotions, or, gets her into a place where she's more open. But I'm just aware of, I want something different, and I am much more capable than I give myself credit for. So I feel like she's a very hard worker. I feel like she's somebody who really shows up for family and is responsible at work too as well. But I feel like I don't really like where I work. Like I feel like I don't really like the people I work with. If you can understand that, Karen. I don't know if Karen's still with us. Sometimes people pop in and out. But sometimes they're interacting with us and we know we're like, okay, you can understand this, right? Okay, Karen, if you can understand this, just pop it down. I don't know if you're still with us, but I'm just aware, like at work, like I don't really feel like I'm gravitating to people. So if you can understand this and what you're putting your time and energy to, like if there's a social aspect along with the work, it's like they have their own cliques and stuff where they act like, you know, they're buddy, but really like you're just like, ah. So I'm aware that you're emotionally sensitive. I'm aware that you're creative. I'm aware that you're a very hard worker. So it's like you have all these skills and capabilities. So why don't we just put you in an area where things are just better for you, because it's obviously not working. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's hard to, you know, if I look at my own life and I go, well, Kelly, if that's not working for you, why don't you just go somewhere better? Well, that's really hard to do sometimes. It really is. Like,
Pebble
same
rock
with you.
brick. The spirit will go, you need to move. They're going to throw little pebbles at your window. You need to move. You need to move. And you're like, oh, who's throwing rocks at my window? Okay, you don't hear them. So they're going to start throwing you rocks, right? And if you ignore the rocks, they're going to throw a brick. Meaning they're going to find a way to absolutely, beyond the shadow of a doubt, force you out of where you are. We would prefer to see you make this shift for yourself under your own terms. Don't make it unpleasant.
Sometimes it's helpful to have help, but yeah, sometimes it's you do not want things not on your own terms. I hear you. But I just feel, I don't know, I get all these vibes where Karen is just very dependable within her family, and you know, it's time that she, you know, takes all the skills that she has and puts them into something where she can actually feel confident and feel like I got this. And I don't know, she like wants to inspire people. I feel like, you know, some people think and they go like, I just want to help people. And I just feel like she doesn't think she's helping people because she's not in a place where her talents are being appreciated. And as long as that happens, valued, exactly. So that's the biggest thing I want you to change for yourself, and that absolutely will change your future, because you are in a different place within your life going forward where you're like, I believe I can have more, as opposed to I don't like where I am, like what's in my future. So that's what I'm getting. But I got a lot of cards around like knowing that she's strong and, you know, leaning into that and understanding that she's going to have to let things go in order to change her life. So she has some tough decisions coming up. Like, I feel like she has a lot of more than one tough decision coming up, and it's regarding maybe relationship and changing how she goes about things with family. So that's tough. And I feel like she's been there before. I feel like she's been there before and she's aware of there's another big change coming up. So if you can understand that, Karen, I don't think she's still with us, but there you go.
She's a go big or go home girl.
Go big or go home girl. Yeah.
I'm going to change it. I'm going to do it all.
Good luck. That's what I have to say. Good luck. Okay. So we got a couple more minutes here. So I guess if you want to do some mini readings or you want to pick one last person, you get to choose how you want to do it.
But, I thought it was your turn.
It is my, but I'm just letting you know how, I guess, you know, we'll do it together, right?
Go for it.
I'm going to go with, I think it's Kara. All right. Where is she? All right. I never know if it's Kara. I think it's Kara. Oh, someone just, let's see. Oh, thank you, Desiree. You're awesome. You're great too. Thank you so much for being here and your support. We love and appreciate you. So Kara. Sounds like a fruit. Kara.
Ooh.
There's a fruit called the Kara, I think it is. And it's making me think of that. The Kara, and also Lakuma. It's making me think of all of it.
Correct. And she's laughing.
Oh, she's putting it down.
C-A-R-U-H. Kara.
That's thanks to Deidre. Deidre got your name more accurately the first. Yeah, you did. I was like, you said it right away. So it helped me think.
Must be psychic.
Right? Absolutely. All right. Wow. Okay. Let me see. I'm getting similar cards, but that happens sometimes. All right. So, all right. Don't you love it when you get like similar cards and you're just like, yeah. How many different ways can I feel into this archetype? But anyway, so I do feel like can you understand that, Cara, like currently it's like emotions are high right now? If you can understand that, I hope you can understand it because I'm starting that way and I feel like I don't have a proper link yet. So sometimes I just away I go and sometimes I'm like, does this make sense? So Cara, can you understand that emotions are high and it's almost like someone else around you is making some decisions where it's like you're not making the decisions to change. Things are kind of like happening to you with the change, if you can understand that. And again, I'm not sure about that piece. So if you can, great. But what I can kind of lean into is I do feel like this is a time for like changing the way you're looking at finances and how you're growing, moving things going forward. And I do feel like you're being thrusted into change, but it's like I'm aware of these things are not coming quite yet. That's why I'm like, I don't know how you can relate to this. But it's like, I swear to you, there's something going on right now that's going to kind of put pressure on you that you wouldn't necessarily choose. And then going forward, it's like the way that you go about things really does change because it's like you're there's no other way to do it. And so if you can understand right now, like finances are shared, you're still kind of building your life with how you want to do things and how you want to exercise going forward, with being like more self-actualized, if you can understand that. And I just feel like you have some events coming up where it's going to like force you to take the reins and force you to grow as a person where you're like, I got this, but it's going to take disruption in order for that to happen. So if you can understand that, let me know. I know that does sound a little bit vague. It is about the upcoming future. Let me know. And I'll see if I can get anything else. But Deidre, I'm going to hand it to you.
Thank you. I think it's interesting because you were talking about self-actualization and change. And the first card that came up as you were speaking of self-actualization was the healing guide. And that card is simply focus on your health, choose it above all else. And how I feel that fits into the scheme of things that Kelly was speaking of for you is that being led into change, being led in a particular direction and not being able to take the lead, I think is a learned behavior. I think at some point in time, you were boxed in, and we all were when we were children. So it's something that we can all understand and relate to. So others of you may also pick up on some of the information coming through. But when we're conditioned to believe that we need to be in a certain box and we need to follow the rules and we need to do what these people say and we need to meet these expectations, we're actually denying ourselves, and we can end up damaging our own sense of self and our own sense of self-worth. And as Kelly was saying, there's something impactful coming for you, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I think we're both speaking of this event that's coming for you is going to be freeing, and it's going to able to allow you to blossom and step into your own. So the healing work that needs to be done based on the things that have transpired or the choices in the past enables you to open up and act like the butterfly that you are, and it provides some time of metamorphosis and the ability to step forward and to truly lead for yourself or lead yourself and others further down the road is breaking through your limits, which is exactly what is on the butterfly card. And the fact that you believe you have some of the limits that you have is related to the things that need to be healed in order to step forward gracefully and with confidence.
Yes, I love the way that Deidre put it, and I love the I can't even say it. Metamorphosis. Thank you.
Here's what I would think of, right? There's an adage, I think, as what I call it now.
I just can't say it right
People
now.
keep talking about how the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis and it has to get into this big gooey mess before it emerges
your
from the
paws.
cocoon like the
Frozen.
beautiful butterfly. That's what it made me think of.
Yes, sometimes I just can't say words. My brain will go like, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna like make me forget how to say something. Metamorphosis. I don't know why it does that, but it does.
Cara says I do feel that, and it does make sense.
Yeah, I'm glad that she can understand that there's a change coming and it's almost like she's being forced to get ready for it. And necessarily it's not comfortable and it's not something necessarily that would be chosen on this timeline. But Deidre was saying it too, like good things are coming. Like I got, like I said, the wealth card and the growing. So it's like you're gonna be thrusted into places where ultimately you're gonna be just fine. It's just going to be yeah, initially it's gonna feel really uncomfortable. So I hope. Oh, she says this makes sense 100%. So good. Yeah, this is about you being. I know this sounds funny, but this is about you being like a badass woman. Okay, so like embrace it and get focused as it's coming. Okay, cool. So all right. Sometimes let's see. Did we do Lee? I'm gonna pull one card for Lee. Before we wrap it up, you can choose if you want to pull one card. She was just saying, my black cat Rocket, is there anything wrong? Does he need to let me know something? Thank you. Yeah, I overlooked this question. I love cats. I would have kind of given it some more time and love. Let me know if you get anything too, Deidre. And we'll kind of finish on this one. Yeah.
Well, while you're pulling, I have two things to share with Lee. One is Rocket knows you're getting ready to go away for the weekend, and Rocket is just being pissy because he doesn't want to be home without you. And that leads me to the other one is, what was your question earlier today about what are you supposed to take with you this weekend? I know I said a shovel at the time, and that's really kind of more a joke than a response. But I really do feel like he just knows you're getting ready to leave. They know when things shift. What do you got, Kelly? I'm out. No pressure.
No, I got an interesting card. So I got a card that basically I'm figuring out where it's coming from. So it's basically either like, Rocket has you wrapped around his little finger. Or like you just have all this love and devotion to Rocket because like that's your baby, but it's like over the top. And it's okay. I love, my fur babies over the top in some ways, like I one of my fur babies, he's like he cries whenever he wants attention, and I try to teach him not to like want it all the time, but like he's so dramatic and maybe I've made it worse because I give him attention when he asks for it. Like he's like a baby. He's like, ah! If you could only hear it, he's so vocal. But there's an aspect of this where it's just like you go above and beyond. Like you go above and beyond. And like he loves it. He loves the attention. He needs it. Yes, perfect. I love it. That's what you're saying at the bottom. Okay. And I do feel like, okay, so with Rocket, let me just kind of tune into Rocket. You know what? I'm not getting a lot of things for Rocket. I'm honest, like I would love to get like a billion different things. But I'm kind of, can you understand that like Rocket sometimes throws up a little bit too much or like has like a hairball a little bit too much? So like there's that region that I notice he has sensitivities in. It's like does he eat too fast or does he have a sensitive stomach? I'm just aware of the throw up thing kind of. And then I keep getting I don't know what this is, but I keep taking to like his elbow, like on one of his sides. I don't know if I have left or right, honestly. But I'm taken to his elbow on one of his sides, and this could be like a past issue where he just has like soreness or something. But I feel like he has vitality. Okay, so you understand the throw up, I'm guessing, because you said yes to one thing. I don't. Okay, so I think Rocket's not old enough, I don't think, and tell me if that's right or wrong. But Rocket's not old enough where I think he's getting hit too hard. But I do think that he's a little nervous sometimes. And, him wanting attention from you and you coddling him because he's a baby. I do think he needs some help channeling his nervousness, because it's like, I'm throwing up because I'm eating too fast or something like that. I'm throwing up because it's just something's not sitting with me well. And just check, like I said, one of his arms and his little elbow area. I feel like he hides things, and then you'll see things, and it's really because he's like uncomfortable and nervous, and it's kind of like from an emotional standpoint. So I know that sounds crazy, but he's hacking up, and I just want you to solve the problem of him hacking up if he's nervous or if there's something with his food. I want you to solve that problem. And I think for the most part, his vitality is okay. Watch with his like lower back feet being clean. Sometimes, they get their feet all a little bit dirty. Just watch his like low back feet for being like clean, if you can understand that too. And that's what I'm getting for Rocket. Tell me if that makes sense. All right, Deidre.
I know she said the vomiting makes sense. I'm kind of gonna stay away from the cat answer. I'm not the cat whisperer. I am the whisperer of my own cat because she is quite feisty. But I don't have a whole lot to contribute other than what I said previously.
Okay, cool. There's a lot of cat love. Deidre has a black cat. I have a black cat. We love our black cats. Okay, we love our black cats in spirit. That's a black cat right there.
There's a black cat.
With the
there's
butterfly.
A statue of a cat with the butterfly on its nose. Yeah.
Yes, I didn't know. I couldn't tell with the butterfly. I didn't know what that was, but now that makes sense. Oh, that's beautiful. Just watch out for Rocket. He's a little bit of a drama king, but he needs a little bit of love in the anxiety department, and just touch his body, figure out if things are a little bit more sensitive for him, and watch out for his messes. I don't know. There's something about feet and messes. Anyway,
like his feet to be messy.
Yeah, he's gonna be around. He's gonna be around. I just sense all this vitality in his body, so he's gonna be around. All right. Okay, she says, okay, that makes sense. As long as it makes sense, right? As long as it makes sense. And sometimes I just say what I need to say. All right. With that said, Deidre, if there's any one person you're vibing with, great. If not, we're going to give people our love.
I think I don't know. I think it's a time for sending out a whole lot of love, because I grabbed a couple that jumped out for me earlier. I know there are a couple folks sitting out here that got their hats in the rings. I think I'm going to leave it the way it is.
Okay, cool.
Somebody that was jumping out to you.
I'm pulling a card for Tina really quick. Opening light. That's about saying hello to yourself and your consciousness, and doing things to acknowledge, who you really are as a soul, and feeling like you're brighter because of that. Lean into that. That's what I'm getting.
Awesome.
Meditation, music, what makes you go, and opens you up. That's really important for your soul and your mind right now. I know that's really, really simple, but that's what comes forth. Thank you, Tina. I appreciate it. And Sarah has some advice with feeding and stuff like that with cats, so check it out. Yeah, the reason, I'm making sure I get to everybody who's around and stuff is, WLTK-DB. It's what a wonderful radio show. What a wonderful station. And I'm sure you've, heard the news and everything with like Todd Bates, the owner. This month our schedule's changing. He is closing down the station. And so there's been so many wonderful people who have been a part of this, like Deidre, and Diet, and just the names go on and on. So many wonderful people a part of this radio station. And this is the last reading show. We're going to be having an interview show on Friday. Deidre was so kind to join me for the last reading show, because I wanted to make sure I just had as many people receiving readings and just as fun as it could be. So she was so kind to bless us with her presence for the final reading show. But yeah, it's sad, but at the same time, I'm going to make sure the psychic hour still goes forward and the numerology hour still goes forward. We're going to figure out how to get the platforms up. It's going to be a mission. It's going to be, a configuration. Bear with me as I figure it out. But, readings and just sharing spiritual wisdom is really, really close to my heart. And I know it's really close to Deidre's heart too.
It was so special to be able to be here with you today, Kelly. Thank you.
It really is. No, it really is. And Deidre, you have a lot of really cool events coming up. So I know you're going to be just working it with your, expertise as we go forward too as well.
Well, I owe some of that expertise to you, my friend. Thank you for your teachings and for all of your assistance along the way. And then again, thank you for today's opportunity. And yeah, I'm looking forward to back-to-back events this weekend. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, here we go.
It's a lot. I can only imagine. Can you share some of the events going on so people can be a part of them and know what you're doing?
Yeah, for those of you closer to my area, I am going to be at the Safe House at Ogden Avenue and 71 in Oswego this weekend on Saturday from noon to 7. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be at the Chicago Marriott Naperville with Illuminate Festivals. Be doing readings at that event from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm also doing a mediumship gallery at noon. The event is free, as are the workshops. What's coming up after that? Then the next weekend on the 30th, I'm going to be with Illuminate again down in Bloomington, Illinois. Another free mediumship gallery at 4 p.m., but the event runs from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the next weekend, it's crazy. The next weekend, I'm going to be at the Haunted Rock Island YMCA Paracon on October the 7th. They've got all kinds of peeps going to be there, including Natalie Jones, Expedition Entity, Shadowhunters Paranormal from Paraflix. Aaron G. Thompson and Nick Simons from 28 Days Haunted are also going to be there. 60 vendors. It's going to be insane. And then from there, it's Witches Night Out, close to home here in Yorkville. And then on the 30th of October, or 28th of October, I lied. The 28th of October, I will be in Escanaba, Michigan for the Hiawatha Wellness Center event that weekend.
And so you're giving readings too there as well?
I'm doing readings, table reads all day. I'll probably be doing some sway testing as well. And then there's a workshop that weekend. Thank you for asking. There's a workshop at that event about body communication and the importance of acknowledging and working with and through our emotions.
Absolutely. Well, I want to celebrate all the things that you're doing with being a healer, with body testing and root cause therapy, and your demonstrations that you're doing with psychic mediumship. That is fantastic. Please check her out. She has her website listed, www.deidrelsanford.com. Please check her out. And, I will continue to be on the airwaves in my own way. And I'm sure, you're going to see Deidre on them again. She'll definitely be on a future show. So with that said, please, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We will see each other on Friday for the Psychic Hour interview. And that's with Ajita Patel. She is an Ayurvedic doctor, chronic healer, and Reiki master too as well. So it's funny we talked about it today.
Awesome.
Yes, very cool. With that said, please, everyone, go with love, luck, light, laughter, and don't forget to live. See you on Friday. Take care.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.